When a bunch of companies broke their promises to some of India's top graduates, they didn't just create a mess. Nope, they actually created this perfect case study in corporate responsibility. So let's get into what really happened, and more importantly, what it means for anyone looking to hire top talent in India.
Okay, just picture this. You've worked your entire life to get into an IIT. You nail the interviews, you land that perfect job, you're all set to begin your career. And then, literally 48 hours before you're supposed to walk in the door, you get an email. The offer? It's gone. What on earth do you do?
And this isn't just some made-up scenario. For one IIT Bombay graduate who had a 30 lakh offer on the table, this was their reality in May of 2025. This one quote, right here, it just captures the absolute shock that kicked off a huge nationwide controversy.
And look, this wasn't just one or two bad apples. The problem was way bigger. We're talking more than 20 companies, mostly in data analytics and software, just backing out of their commitments. That scale, well, that's what turned a bunch of personal nightmares into a massive institutional crisis.
So, to really get why the IITs hit back so hard, you first have to understand just how bad this crisis was. This was a complete breakdown of trust. It was a promise broken at the worst possible moment for these graduates.
The timing here is absolutely everything. These weren't offers that got pulled months ahead of time, giving people a chance to regroup. We're talking June and July 2025, the exact moment students were moving to new cities, signing apartment leases, and getting ready to start their new lives. That last-minute timing just made everything 100 times worse.
And right at the heart of this whole mess is this one super important policy. One student, one job. Now, it's a good idea on paper. It's meant to make sure opportunities are spread out fairly. But it has a huge weak spot. When that one offer gets pulled, the student isn't just back to square one. They're out of the game completely. Stranded.
And this is where you see the huge disconnect. On one side, you've got the company with some vague excuse, like a change in requirements. On the other side, you have the student's reality. Take Prasad Charay, for example. His offer from Taurus Digital was pulled on the day he was supposed to start. For him, that corporate jargon meant one thing: total chaos for his career plans.
The human cost was just massive. I mean, besides just pulling offers completely, like that 30 lakh one at IIT Bombay, some companies tried a different, sneakier tactic. They would just slash the salary packages after the student had already accepted. This put students in an impossible spot: either take a much worse deal or try to jump back into a job market that had already left them behind.
But here's where the story takes a turn. This isn't just about a crisis, it's about the incredible response. Faced with this betrayal, the IITs didn't just get mad. They got organized. And what they did next was basically a masterclass in how to use institutional power.
You know, this wasn't just some angry knee-jerk reaction. It was a very deliberate, step-by-step plan. First, they verified all the claims. Second, they looked for patterns and, surprise, surprise, they found some of these companies had done this before. But step 3, that was the real game changer. Coordinators from 15 different IITs all joined forces. That led to a powerful, unified band that sent a massive shockwave through the entire industry.
And with that move, they sent a crystal-clear message to the corporate world. The IIT brand is tied directly to the success and the security of its students. By blacklisting these firms, they weren't just punishing a few bad actors. They were sending a message that they will protect the integrity of their talent pipeline, no matter what.
Now, a ban this big doesn't just happen in a bubble. It shook up an already slow job market, and it created a whole new set of rules and realities for companies and for the next batch of graduates.
So the situation became this interesting mix of good and bad. On one hand, yeah, the market was sluggish, and banned companies could still technically hire people off campus. But the IITs were smart. They pivoted. They started pushing startups from the Viksit Bharat program and reaching out to a much wider variety of companies. And as we're about to see, the biggest players in the game, they never left.
And this, right here, shows you the real power of the IIT brand. The fact that global giants, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, Apple, NVIDIA, all showed up on day one of placements sent a clear signal. It said that no matter what the economy is doing, the demand for truly elite talent is always there.
All right, so let's boil this all down. If you're going to be a manager someday, if you're going to be making hiring decisions, this whole incident is way more than just a news story. It's a critical case study. So what are the big lessons here? I think there are 4 huge takeaways. First, your company's reputation is like currency. It's what lets you buy access to the very best people. Second, your stakeholders have real power. The IITs proved that institutions can and will hold companies accountable. Third, ethics aren't just a nice to have. The damage from pulling those offers will hurt those firms recruiting for years to come. And finally, you have to play by the rules of the ecosystem. When there's a one-job policy, your offer isn't just an offer, it's a huge responsibility.
And that really brings us to the big, tough question every leader has to face. When times are tough, it's really easy to call a hard decision a business necessity. But as this whole situation proves, forgetting your responsibility to people can end up being the costliest business decision you ever make. And that's a question worth thinking about as you build your own career.